Introducing the Paramena Bliss Podcast, a show dedicated to unraveling the mysteries of achieving optimal health naturally as you transition into perimenopause and menopause. Get ready to join your host, Dr. Seth Yates, an experienced naturopathic doctor, acupuncturist, and kinesiologist, as he shares his wealth of knowledge acquired from over 40,000 patient visits and 15 years in working with perimenopausal females. Welcome to the Paramena Bliss Podcast.
Hey, this is Doc Yates. Welcome to the Paramena Bliss Podcast, brought to you by perimenalbliss.com and ablehealth.us. And today, I want to discuss the powerful negative effect of xenoestrogens, or called endocrine disruptors. What exactly is this? These are basically chemical compounds, plastic compounds in your body that can significantly disrupt and affect your hormones. It affects your body's ability to properly detoxify hormones. They can act on the hormone receptors and have very powerful effects with very small doses. And unfortunately, they're everywhere. They're everywhere, and even myself, as someone who does work with hormones every day, yet sometimes we forget about their effect. But I was reminded recently I had a client coming in her mid-70s, and she was, up to 2 weeks prior to that, she had still been dramatically suffering with hot flashes and night sweats. 14 to 15 per day, waking her up at night. Absolutely, that's terrible. And she had early onset menopause. She'd been in menopause since her early 40s. So I'm talking 30 years of hot flashes and night sweats. And I cannot take credit for this case. She and her daughter on her own had figured out, let's just try cutting some of these things out that we saw about online. So by the time she even saw me, her hot flashes and night sweats had been better in the last 2 weeks. They were better within 3 days of identifying and cutting out these problematic xenoestrogens, or endocrine disruptors. So I want to dive in. Here's the thing. There's so many of them that I'm just going to focus today on the ones that are most likely to be in direct contact with your body and skin. Those are the ones that you can have the most control over, because you're literally putting them on yourself or putting yourself into things containing them. So let's dive into it. Number one, plastic bottles. So plastic bottles for water bottles or food containers, especially even more so if you're microwaving them, those contain xenoestrogens that could be directly getting into your body. Number two, scented detergents, like for washing your clothes, and going along with that, dryer sheets. One of the things that this client was telling me was that she was kind of like the detergent and the bounce dryer sheet queen. Like, her house smelled like it was from a Bounce commercial. And I think that was one of the major ones for her. But any of the scents that you're putting on your clothes, and then you're sleeping in these sheets all night and wearing these clothes all day, this is in direct contact with your body. And these little things sound benign, but unfortunately they really add up. So also, the nice thing for each of these solutions, I'll give a solution for each one. So for the plastic bottles, switch to glass. If you're using dryer sheets and scented detergents, switch to natural unscented. And then for dryer sheets, they have those like dryer balls that you can use now, and you just put natural essential oils on it in very low amounts, which are completely healthy and safe. Switch to those. Okay, so we've got the dryer sheets covered. We're going to go to perfumes and air fresheners. Same thing here. Switch your perfumes. One of the things that you'll notice about a lot of these things are scents. And when you look at the ingredients in the scents, like let's say it's like, oh, this is vanilla. And then you look in the ingredients, and it doesn't even say vanilla in it. It just has all these chemical names. Chances are it's full of xenoestrogens. So if you wanted a vanilla scent, maybe use like a vanilla essential oil. If you wanted, I'm not sure, a cinnamon scent, a floral scent, maybe actually use those actual products instead of getting these chemical synthetic versions of it. And then for the air fresheners, same thing. A lot of people just use natural essential, actually pretty much what we're going to get down to for these scents is like use natural essential oils. And then I've had a lot of clients be like, oh, I can't have essential oils in my house because I have pets. And if you're wondering about the relative risk of a few drops of essential oil versus these chemicals for your pets, I think you need to reconsider. It's not even comparable. Now, I'm not saying you're going to leave the essential oils out so your pets can drink them, but you're only going to take them out, put a couple drops onto something that's going to just kind of absorb into the air. Not even comparable. So, scented shampoos and soaps, same thing. A lot of times you'll be like, oh, this is a nice coconut flavor one. And when you read the ingredients, it doesn't even say anything coconut on it. Chances are it's all just synthetic scents and xenoestrogens and endocrine disruptors. So switch your shampoos and soaps especially. Like these are things you're literally rubbing all over your body, even if you are rinsing them off. Switch those out. These things so far, there's easy solutions for all of them. Like you don't even have to go to a different store. You can get everything at the same store. You just pick a different product. Number 7 may not apply to as many people in this audience from my perimenopausal audience, but something to consider because a lot of you have teenage daughters that are in your house, and this could be affecting them and affecting their hormones as well. But birth control pill is really something that you need. It is a synthetic estrogen. Like that's the whole purpose of it. These are synthetic estrogens. And birth control is one that people are literally taking orally or sometimes injecting into their bodies or their skins. Yes, they work. It works absolutely great for not getting pregnant, but the long-term effects on their hormones can play a very significant role. So, and there's one last one, which I just thought I should mention, even though you're not probably exposed to it as much, but if it is something you are using, this is a very powerful one. So pesticides and herbicides, if you're spraying tons of those around your house, those are like the most potent ones. But I really wanted to focus today on the ones that are like the day-to-day use in contact with people every day that you want to try and cut out. Now, one of these things that you should know is that about these types of synthetic estrogens, they can be over 100 times more powerful than your actual estrogen. Think about that, 100 times, which means you only need 100th of the dose. And if you're using these things every day, how much do you think that could be playing a role into your hormones? Like I said, for that client I was working with earlier this week, when she made the changes, things that she'd been struggling with for 30 years went away in 3 days for making these changes. And there was a lot of things about, like, her diet wasn't great. Pretty sure she was still smoking quite a bit, drinking quite a bit. So that's how strong, even with that going on, her symptoms still got better. So what are some of the risk factors? And what are some of the things that have dramatically increased since these things have been in use? The biggest one is cancer. So the increase of cancers, especially hormonal-based breast cancers, ovarian cancers, has gone up dramatically since these have been around. Infertility, now again, not a big thing for this audience, but you do want to think about your daughters at home or your nieces. Infertility has gone up significantly since the use of these chemicals. You've also seen effects with obesity, and one of the things with the obesity is because if you throw your hormones off with all these endocrine disruptors and it's putting into basically a synthetic estrogen dominant state, it's going to lead to even more obesity. It can disrupt your thyroid as well, and there's a little bit of a link with diabetes. So let's just review. Take the artificial scents, artificial cleaners, and perfumes, etc. Remove those. Just replace those with some natural things. You don't even have to just, for simplicity's sake, you don't even have to go through and purge everything out of your house right now if you want it. I know everything's expensive right now, but you're going to do next time you go shopping, instead of buying that exact same old dryer, your washing detergent or dryer sheets. Just grab something different instead. And just all of a sudden, by the time 2 weeks or 3 weeks is done and you've already finished your shopping, you have switched your whole house over without having to do hardly anything different at all. So, I hope this was helpful. This is Doc Yates, signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to the Paramena Bliss podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and visit paramenobliss.com for more valuable information on how you can thrive during your transition through perimenopause. Join our community of like-minded women who are dedicated to achieving optimal health naturally, and stay up to date with the latest tips, tricks, and advice from Dr. Seth Yates. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Paramena Bliss podcast.